What's going on, guys? So we recently passed 250,000 subscribers, so 250,000 subscribers, and we're on the road to 300,000 subscribers. So thanks to everyone who has subscribed, and if you have not subscribed, consider subscribing to help us get to that goal. And of course, like the video if you enjoy it. Now, we've talked a bit about GameStop in the past, and we talked about the potential sale that could be happening. Remember, we heard two different companies were looking into it. Remember, we talked about Apollo, for example, who was looking into it, who currently owns several different businesses, including Redbox. And here we are now with GameStop saying they will not be pursuing a sale of the company at this time. They are terminating their current efforts. And this very well could go down as GameStop's biggest mistake, but it could also be one of the best decisions because we really don't know which way this could go. But we're going to go over what they've released because this is directly on their website. There's also a link down in the description if you want to read along or if you would like to read a little further into it. And this was posted today, earlier this morning. There were originally rumors that were going around that GameStop's management had opened their stores wherever the GameStop is, whether it opens at 10 a.m. Eastern or 11 a.m. or maybe on the West Coast. As soon as they opened, they got a message, and this would happen way back in the day when I was there. You would get a message in the morning to kind of keep you up to speed. Price changes were one, and then of course you'd get messages on the little terrible computer that had a hard time running. It was super slow. You would get a message that would update you on different news and things that were going on with the company as well, if it needed to be kind of, I guess, just given to you, because we don't always have to know everything that's going on. But obviously, the word was going around that they were pursuing a sale. They said they were pursuing a sale, and it seemed like two companies were, at the time, bidding over the possible purchase and buyout of GameStop. So this was released on their site, and it says, GameStop today announced that its board of directors has concluded its previous announced efforts to pursue a sale of the company in conjunction with its broader review of strategic and financial alternatives. So basically, they're done looking, at least for now. I'll say for now because it could always change, obviously, depending on how this goes. Most likely, if it gets worse, they'll come back to it. But they also kind of gave us an idea as to why the sale didn't go through or they have terminated it. They go on to say, in June 2018, GameStop's board, together with outside financial and legal advisors, commenced a review of a wide range of alternatives to enhance shareholder value. If you remember, their stocks have been declining heavily. I mean, if you look up the past 5 years of GameStop's stock, it has tumbled badly in terms of how much it's worth. The board undertook a comprehensive review process, including discussions with third parties regarding a potential sale of the company. GameStop's board has now terminated efforts to pursue a sale of the company due to the lack of available financing on terms that would be commercially acceptable to a prospective acquirer. So what appears to be happening and why this could be bad for GameStop if it doesn't go the way that they would like it to. Now, there is a bit of good news that we'll get to in the next paragraph that could potentially turn things around for them. And we've talked about it previously, but basically what's happening here is there were bids, it sounded like, as we heard that two companies were interested in buying them from, like, the Wall Street Journal, for example, where they had looked into it. And it sounds like GameStop probably wanted a certain amount that was way up here, and then the companies that were looking to buy were offering a value down here. So they were on two ends of I guess, the spectrum there as to a pricing, and it didn't work out. Basically, things fell through, and here we are now with GameStop saying they are no longer going to be pursuing a sale of the company. Now, on from there, they say, as part of the board's review process, as previously announced, the company sold its Spring Mobile business. This transaction was completed on January 16th, 2019, and generated approximately $735 million in immediate cash proceeds. And this is obviously a good thing. $735 million of immediate cash that you can just use, liquid cash, could help GameStop transform the look, the vision, the idea of their brand and their stores. And we've kind of seen some GameStop stores kind of do this now. Sean actually did a video where this weird new GameStop had popped up in a mall somewhere, and they went through it, and it looked much more open, more spacious, and just in general, it seemed like a better place to shop at. It was cleaner than a lot of the GameStops I've been to, and it seemed a little more comfortable inside. The one that I go to now, the people there are very friendly, and they are very helpful, but you can tell that they're told to do certain things like fill up half the store with junk and backpacks and stuff, whereas they are clearly more interested in the games, as if you go in there and talk to them about it, at least the one near me, it might be different for you, they're very knowledgeable and very helpful on pretty much everything that needs to be asked. So the one near me at least is pretty good. Now, they have $735 million in immediate cash proceeds from that Spring mobile business that they sold. Again, that's good news. They said the board continues to evaluate the optimal use of these proceeds, which could include reducing the company's outstanding debt, which would help, like actually reducing the debt, funding share repurchases that would also help with the value of shares, and reinvesting in core video game and collectibles business to drive growth, or a combination of these options. I would probably invest more into the stores and trying to figure out how they can coexist with the digital era that is coming. It's kind of almost here, just about. All the subscription service, Game Pass isn't helping GameStop. PlayStation Now isn't helping GameStop. People buying games digitally is not helping GameStop. So they need to figure out how they can coexist, where trade-ins will continue to fall, and that's where their money is. Collectibles, maybe, but I don't think they're going to sell as many collectibles as they would, obviously, video games when a big release comes out. Usually we would sell 800 to 1,000 copies of something like a Call of Duty on release day. That's a lot of Call of Duties. There were times where we had 800 pre-orders for a game like a Madden, right? That's not the case anymore. So there are a bunch of cool things they could probably do if they want to do it. And I guess one of the things that I would look into is their retro scene, because I have to admit, sometimes I order something from them and I'm a little concerned that it's coming from their website and not from a store that I can go pick it up in. And one thing I noticed from some of the stores I would work in and even run at times is that people really liked the retro scene and the idea of walking into a store and buying a retro game. So if they can get to a point where you can go into a store and there's an entire retro section, Nintendo 64, GameCube, PlayStation 2, and it's actually organized and clean and looks good, and maybe even bring in one of those old like kiosks or something from like the original Xbox days or the old Super Nintendo stuff. If you can get to a point where you can stock the store with stuff like that and not have to order online, that would be ideal as well. That would probably be a bit harder to figure out because it would vary location by location, but you would get a whole nother side of the gaming space into your store. And you can also monetize further than that with newer Super Nintendo style systems, newer controllers that you do actually make pretty good money on. Those think about the Nintendo 64 controllers that were from like Retrobit. They're like $20, I think. They're the ones that look almost exactly and feel exactly like the old Nintendo 64 controllers. Those we would buy for, I want to say they were $9.50 and they were a $20 sale. So we would double up on those, and those worked well. Same with the Retron 2s, Retron 3s. At wholesale, you would actually make some decent money. Most times you would double up on them. So if they can look into that and build on top of that, that would actually probably help them. It would just be tough to make sure each store kept retro games in stock. But I guess it's like anything else, and if you accept trades on it, there you go. You'll probably get a bunch of cool stuff in when a new game comes out. But that's one of the biggest ideas. And then, of course, revamping the stores to be a bit more friendly for people who don't want a bunch of clutter and just junk in the stores. But let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think this is their biggest mistake, or do you think it's a good thing? I could see this being a mistake because let's say next year, things are still going poorly. They're going to be worth less next year than they were this year, which means that the amount that they turn down could eventually just become their asking price. Like, that's just the way it is. You know, that could potentially end up biting them in the end. There's also this other hand that maybe they turn it around, but in the digital era that is on its way and the way GameStop seems to be heading, I don't know how they would do that. But let me know what you guys think down below. Make sure you like the video if you liked it, dislike it. If not, guys, I'll see you in the next video.